All right, we are live. How's it going, guys? I'm Josh. Welcome to the third ever live photo review session where you guys submit your photos and I talk about them. Now, a couple things I want to go over. First of all, I'm pumped right now. I just had a little dance party to Arcade Fire to get amped for this because mentality is huge. So let's go over a couple things before we actually get this fully going. So first of all, for those of you who are wondering, how do you submit photos? Because I'm going to be talking about your shots through Instagram today. So all the details are in the description of this. But for those of you who just came here, want me to talk about it, we're going to wait for a few more people to come. I might as well fill you in. So all you have to do is comment your Instagram in the chat, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Ideally, you'd post something. The most recent photo is what I'm going to talk about. But if something else inspires me, I might take a look at one of those. I also really appreciate it if you guys throw the photo information in the photos that I'm going to review. So, you know, on your Instagrams and you're posting photos, it's really nice to see the camera settings you used, the camera equipment you used, and just for the hell of it, any camera or any stories behind said images, because that's always super fun. Another thing I want to say, guys, is super chat donations are super appreciated. They're not necessary by any means, but you know, this is what I do for a living. So if you're willing to support me, I will return the favor by prioritizing your photos. So if you make a donation, I will take yours and do it first. And yes, but you don't have to make a donation to be reviewed. I'm just gonna make sure that everyone who does, you know, gets the special treatment. So anyway, with all of this said, yeah, let's get this going. Wow, Daniel Schiffer, my man, one of my OG YouTube friends from like 10 years ago. Thank you so much for the donation. Welcome back. He's been doing YouTube again lately. And yeah, if you see his name in the live chat, give it a click. And for those of you who are watching this not live, you might be wondering, where's the live chat? You missed us. So definitely come. And I'm going to try and do these every single week now. I'm having a blast with these. Yeah, so usually Thursdays at 4. I actually have a really cool photo project I'm doing tomorrow. So not quite yet. And actually, if anyone's wondering about that, I'm really amped for this photo project. I set a goal this summer on teaching photography composition. Now, photo composition isn't a one tutorial sort of operation. It's like it's a huge endeavor, basically. So I am setting out to do that one video at a time. And tomorrow I'm teaming up with Sarah Dici and another photographer, and we'll be talking about the rule of thirds, which was a really simple one, but I think that there's some cool stuff to be done with it. So anyway, it's not going to be live for those of you who are wondering in the live chat. This is going to be real videos because I still do those. And Evan Fowler, thank you so much for the super chat donation. You're the man, and because of that, we're going to start with your Instagram first. So let's get this cranking, guys. I'm super stoked. And by the way, for those of you who came early, I was saving a bunch of your Instagrams. We're putting them in the live chat because, you know, I appreciate the dedicated viewers. And if you weren't here early, you should follow my Instagram because that's usually where I update on these sort of things and their happenings. So let's get it cranking. Let's talk about our first photo. Evan Fowler 1. All right. Welcome to my laptop screen. So, all right, let's cruise a little bit. Evan, interesting stuff. What should we talk about? All right. Let's talk about the selfie. Why not? So I think selfies are a really cool thing because you are your most patient model. And sometimes it's hard to have a model, especially when you're starting off, that's willing to give in to all of your shenanigans and be patient with you. You usually are patient with yourself, hopefully. So don't downplay the selfie. The camera selfie, I'm sort of iffy on. I mean, it can be done well. Anything can be done well. But I like one that's like not immediately obvious that it's a selfie, where you set up a timer and everything, because that's like it takes a little more effort, I think, and it also, it's a little more subtlety. But this is cool. One thing I like about this is judging by the seatbelt, appreciate the safety. And the bottom, it's taken in the mirror with the low aperture, wide depth of field, shallow depth of field, I'm sorry, which is neat. And the sun hitting his hair also looks really nice. He also played with the editing. Notice how the blacks are just kind of grayed out, which looks nice, sort of like a filmy photo sort of thing. So there's definitely some cool potential here. I would like to see this sort of style photo though, without the camera in there. That'd be a cool thing. So Evan, thank you so much for submitting, and let's move on to the next photographer. And every time I think I've gotten myself caught up in like immediately jumping from photo to photo. I'm gonna try and take a minute now just to like cruise through the chat, see what people are saying. If anyone hates me, if anyone loves me. And wow, super chat donations are coming in. Eli Goldstone, thank you so much, and Samuel Frasier, you're the man. You guys are, you're supporting my passion, which is the nicest thing you could ever do for me. So thank you so much, and we're gonna prioritize your photos and talk about them right now. And for anyone who just came, welcome. Basically, we're gonna review a lot of photos today, and it's gonna be a blast. So we are gonna start with E-Gold Photo. All right, and let me let it load really quick. Okay, quality bio right here, amateur photographer. All right, let's see. I'm getting a northeastern vibe. Yep, Acadia National Park. I called it. I'm actually going to Acadia in August, which I'm super stoked for. Okay. All right, let's talk about the framing on this image. So the subject here is the lighthouse, pretty clearly, and you have some really cool. Looks like it's on an island. Maybe it's not. I'm assuming it's an island or just the mainland, and they came out in a boat. But regardless, one thing that I would do if I were taking this photo would be like, okay, the lighting is not insane. There's not like a ridiculous sunset or anything. Clouds are kind of cool. I would center the lighthouse. So they looks like he sort of applied the rule of thirds, having it in the right third of the photo. But when there's only one subject, there's not much to balance it out with. So I think it would look a little more dynamic if it was just centered. So it's like, this is the focus. I know it's the focus. But I do like that they had the right height where you see a good amount of water, rocks, green grass, and equal proportions of those three things, which I think is really cool. I could talk for hours about all of these photos. This is a very cool one. Natural, nice line leading you throughout the photo, but I'm gonna have to move on because we've got a lot of photos to talk about today. And Eli, thank you so much for the submission, and let's talk about more photos. And for those of you who just came in, welcome to the live photo review number 3. This is a once a week thing, and I will be prioritizing all super chat donations and your photos because it shows you care, and I want to return the favor. Though you don't have to. You don't have to. I definitely want to be careful, guys, not to seem like I'm forcing anyone to make donations. I'll definitely be doing stuff for free, but it's just a matter of I will be prioritizing those who donate. And speaking of which, Samuel Frasier, I can't find your Instagram. You didn't include it in your donation, so just shoot me, put it in the live chat, and I'll get to it. Anyway, all of that being said, let's start with someone else. Okay, I am thinking we're going to talk about Fabio. Fabio, that's one of the coolest names ever. Fabio, thank you for 1, submitting, and thank you for 2, having the best name. So this photo immediately intrigues me for its simplicity. There's not too much going on here, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in just an observational way. It's very simple. So they have the bird dead center, just like last photo I was saying. This is sort of the idea of what I was thinking for it's clear what the focus is. It's minimalism. The only thing that I would do a little bit differently is there's a lot of empty space in all parts of the photo. And I think what would make this potentially stronger is, one, they could have shot it vertical or like in portrait mode, so you don't have so much extra room on the left and right of the bird. Or I also think it would be nice to frame the bird up so that if he got lower, you could have showed more of the ocean and then just actually had the bird at the very top of the frame so it sort of fills up the entire frame, but still with lots of empty space. But yeah, I think having all this extra room on every single side when it's just sort of a very flat gradient blue is just there's more potential here for sure. So I would definitely play with framing, and yeah, also a zoom lens would be huge. If you just took this exact photo, say this is a 24 millimeter, if you zoomed in double that, 50 millimeter, you could really have that exact framing that I'm talking about that I think would be really neat. But anyway, Fabio, thank you for existing and submitting your photos. Let's see what else we've got today. All right, and okay, Samuel Frasier, did you put your thing in the live chat? Hopefully I can keep up with the live chat. In the past, I've been bad about it, but I'm trying my best. Oh, here, I found it. Mr. Samuel Frasier. All right, one sec, guys. Let me just pull this up. Hey, just out of curiosity, where do you guys all live? Could you toss it in the live chat? I'm just curious where you guys are located, and if this time works for you. I'm curious. So, I figure 4 p.m. kids are getting out of school out here, but I'm wondering if I'm screwing over any kids in the West Coast. I guess it's summer now. But yeah, definitely let me know. Maryland and Ireland. What ridiculously different locations. Amsterdam. 2 people from Slovenia. Oh my gosh. I can't believe Sweden, India. This is blowing my mind, for the record. This is the coolest thing. New Jersey, not that cool, but still appreciated. More Amsterdam, more Maryland. Wow, a number of Latvia. This is so sick. London. Okay, I mean, I always knew that my audience was very global and international, but actually seeing this and knowing the internet working in such a way is absolutely insane. Indonesia, Quebec. You guys are blowing my mind. This is a lot. This is a lot to take in. Oh man, Phoenix, Arizona. You guys. Oh, okay. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for tuning in. You live in Singapore. There are probably so many cool Singaporean things to do, and you're watching my live stream. So anyway, I very, very much appreciate that, and hopefully I can return the favor with some quality photo advice. And one other very important preface I want to add here regarding my critiques is photography is very subjective. So you might not agree with the things that I have to say about your work or anyone's work. In fact, you probably will disagree with certain things. So I encourage you to duke it out in the live chat. I love to debate, and definitely let me know if you have any varying opinions. I think if you do, that's a good sign, because it actually means that I'm putting myself out there and saying, giving you real opinions and not just generic photo advice. So that's really the goal here. I have a style. You guys might not like it. You might like it. And if you're not sure if you like my photos, you can check out my Instagram, and I'll put a little, I'll put a link to it right in the description, or in the live chat really quick. So you can actually see, because, I might have a different style. And even if you think my photos are good, you might not like them, or you might like them and think they're bad. But anyway, with all of that, let's get back into the deep end and review the crap out of some photos. And wow, a number of super chats have come in the last few minutes. Thank you guys so much. Noah Cole, you were the man. Let's talk about your work. Let's pull it up. One sec, guys. Just relying on slow internet because of live streaming. I should invest in some live streaming gear, I'm thinking. This is I'm just using my Mac right now, and it could be better for sure. Alright. Noah C. Cole. Let's talk about your work, my man. Welcome to the Instagram of Noah C. Cole. And a skateboarder, which is awesome. Alright, so this looks like the most photo-y photo, and he said this is a 30-second exposure. So, immediate thoughts. One, you guys see those lights on the bridge and how they're sort of flaring out? That's called a light flare, I believe. I'm pretty sure that's the right term for it. Regardless, what it is when you take a long exposure, if your aperture number or your f-stop is a very high number, you get those light flares, because that's the light coming in through the aperture and through the aperturing. I'm probably not doing a good job explaining the exact technical way it works, but just know that when you take a long exposure with a high aperture number, you get those nice light beams, which look super sick. So definitely try that out, and he did that well, and they look beautiful. The one thing I would say that could make this image a lot stronger, though, is you see he has these nice reflections in the water. Water is good for that. I would get way, way closer to the water. I know he was trying to frame it with the foreground and these rocks here in the bottom, but if he got onto those rocks and set up his camera, then you have a much fuller reflection. And instead of, these rocks that are like kind of decently lit, but not that well lit. So yeah, I think that would make the image much, much stronger. But, this is a cool thing, and, he nailed the long exposure operation. And for those of you who are wondering how to take a long exposure, you should probably go watch my How to Take Long Exposure Photography tutorial for beginners video, which is made for people just like you. I don't have the time to put a link for it, but the title is Long Exposure Photography for Beginners. Pretty straightforward. All right, and some more super chats are coming in. You guys are amazing and heartwarming. Gabe Wilmouth, thank you so much. Let's talk about your art. It's a weird thing. I was thinking about this the other day. As I do more and more photo videos and content, I'm slowly having to consider myself, I'm almost an artist now, which is a strange thing. I've always considered myself more of like a craftsman that takes photos, because I get really into like the technical settings and don't over worry about the theoretical, but it's all art. Art is everything for the most part. But to be like a proclaimed artist is a crazy thing, and I'm not sure if I'm ready for that title. So we're gonna still refer to myself as a guy that takes photos sometimes, and maybe also does it for a living, maybe. That's what it says on my business card. So okay, Gabe Wilmouth, you made a super chat donation, which is very much appreciated. What isn't appreciated is the fact that your Instagram is private. So turn it off private. Get ready for the world to see your work, and I'm gonna check back on your stuff in like 3 minutes. I'm hoping that you'll do that. Yes, and on to the next one. Teo, thank you so much for the super chat donation. This is amazing. And I'm going to return the favor immediately. Let's talk about your work. So Teo's Instagram is view.from.mylens. And let's load it really quick. Hopefully we have some stuff to talk about. So this is also one thing that's kind of crazy about doing these live streams is like, I don't know what I'm going to say. I haven't looked at anyone's work. There's no vetting or anything. It's just, let's jump off the deep end. I have 2 seconds to look at their Instagram before I have to talk about it. So it's sort of just hoping for the best and hoping I can come up with something that sounds comprehensible. But sometimes it doesn't. So thank you guys for bearing with me. Let's see if Gabe has gone public yet. Maybe. All right, anyway, let's talk about view from my lens, Teo. Okay, so welcome to Teo's Instagram, and boom, long exposure master right here. We've got a couple of them. The one that catches my eye is this. Honestly, guys, I like doing urban photography, and street photography is fun, but what really gets me going is nature. This is my stuff. Okay, what's interesting here is this might be a composite image, and the reason why I think that is this, if you look at the bottom, is clearly a long exposure, as with this. You have these birds. So I'm thinking what they did is actually combine 2 images together, one of the sunset and one of the bottom area, which is a very common thing. I actually, let me show you a composite image I just made today. Little self-promotion for you. So welcome to my Instagram, and I just combined 4 images for the 4th of July. Normally they wait for the sunset to go off and get fully dark before they fire off the fireworks. So I left my camera in the same spot and took a photo of the fireworks, or of the sunset, so you have that nice orange and blue, and this is from before they went off. Then I took 3 different photos of said fireworks and combined them all in Photoshop, which is a fun thing to do. More info on that later. But back to Teo. He used that technique, which is super cool, and he clearly knows what he's doing in a way that many don't. So far as what can make this better, so it's a square, which is kind of interesting. Do they do all their photos square? Oh, they're a square guy, which is cool. They're committed to the Instagram ratio. Yeah, I would start to experiment with they've clearly reached a certain caliber of photography. I think it'd be good to start messing with the ratios that actual photos are taken with. So I would try taking some 4x6 photos and getting used to that framing, because like as a photographer, Instagram is definitely a medium, but it's also not the end game. And it's cool to really work with what your camera originally gave you. So I try and do 4x6s a lot, which is the natural frame crop ratio. There's also 8x10, which is like a little bit chunkier. A lot of cool stuff. But anyway, experiment with stuff that isn't squares and keep up the good compositing work. View from my lens, Teo. Okay, let's talk about some more Instagrams and see what's happening in the live chat. Have people revolted yet? Doesn't seem like it. Wow. Okay, I still have viewers. That's phenomenal. Because every time I'm like, I hope I don't say anything too dumb that makes everyone decide to leave. That's the goal, is to make it through this hour without making everyone leave during said hour. So, okay, Gabe, your Instagram is public. Welcome to the world. Now it's time to go big time and talk about your Instagram. Here, really quick, before I make this shift, I just want to say one thing. So for those of you who are new, we got a lot of viewers right now, which is amazing. To submit photos, all you have to do is toss up your Instagram in the live chat, and I will hopefully get to it. But because we have so many ridiculous amounts of submissions, I can't guarantee it. However, if you make a super chat donation and help me out, I will return the favor and prioritize yours, and I guarantee you that I will review yours. And if I don't get to it within the hour, you can send me an email with your link, and I will get to it. I will send you an email, which might actually be even more in depth than during this live stream. So make a donation and guaranteed photo review. So yeah, that's the deal. But again, you don't have to donate, it just helps, and I will still pick some random ones who didn't. Anyway, now that we've said that for the third time, I'm sorry, and a lot of new viewers, gotta say what's good. Let's get back to Gabe, who's made his big debut. Gabe Wilmouth, welcome to the world. Alright, let's talk about, so this is clearly like a personal Instagram. I'm sorry if I made you I don't want to blow you and your girlfriend up or anything. But yeah, let's talk about this. All right, Gabe, I don't mean to make an example of you, but that's exactly what I'm gonna do. And here, let me just turn to my face so you know how serious I am. No, I'm actually smiling, but I am serious. I don't like watermarks. I really don't like watermarks, and here's why. There's two reasons. So one, they make the photo look bad. And honestly, it's just distracting. My eye immediately jumps to it, and I'm not a huge fan of them. And second is it's kind of cocky. It kind of says look, my photos are good. You want to steal them, so I'm gonna toss up a big old watermark on them. So definitely, I recommend not doing that. Also, bear in mind, I think one reason why a lot of photographers will do it is they don't want their images being stolen for whatever reasons. But on Instagram, it's so low res. The worst someone can do is repost it, and people repost usually with credit. So it's actually a good thing if people steal your work. Almost. Don't quote me on that. But seriously, it's not like someone can steal this and make a print of it because it's so low res. I've heard other photographers say that's why they don't want to do it. And you need the full file to make a print that's actually high quality enough to be big. So don't worry about that. Take off the watermark. But yeah, this is cool. One thing that I'm used to seeing with these long exposures of fireworks, and yeah, it's a long exposure, 5 seconds, is normally there's a lot of foreground, there's some sort of scene. This is just, it's just the firework, obviously. So it's actually this sort of conceptual, abstract piece almost, with the nice blacks. And yeah, I mean, this is super cool. One thing also you have to be careful about with fireworks is color schemes. So Um, different fireworks, especially if you're firing off multiple at once, might have colors that don't look good necessarily together. So in this one, there's like yellow, purple, and green, and like yellow and green look good together. But the three of them is like an okay. I don't know, like red, white, and blue is a classic one, or like blue and yellow really complement each other well. But definitely watch out for that. And my advice to anyone out here, it's probably too late now, but for anyone out there who wants to shoot firework photos, I highly recommend you actually shoot them. Get your camera set up, find the composition and the framing and the settings that you like, and then shoot a bunch of them. Shoot 20, shoot 30, and if you have a camera remote, which is a really great tool that I highly recommend, you can actually set them up to automatically shoot a bunch. So you actually could just watch the show and enjoy it and get a bunch of options, which is a super cool way to do it. Yeah, so definitely keep that in mind. Yeah, anyway, let's get back to more reviews. All right, Savannah Skarky, photos by Blondie. Thank you so much for the donation. I really appreciate it. Everyone who's making these super chat donations, it's the coolest thing ever, and eternal gratitude, guys. That sounded ridiculous, but I mean it. Okay. One sec, just loading up some Instagrams. I hope Gabe's girlfriend is stoked now that she's made her big debut onto my live YouTube show. Okay. Photos with Blondie. Let's pre-select a few real quick. Griffin Stummer, thank you so much for the donation. Let's talk about your work in a second. Hey, random little thing while I'm loading up. Did you guys know a little keyboard trick? If you hold Option and then hit the left arrow key, it'll actually move not one letter but one entire word. So if you hit Option and then back, it'll delete an entire word. This is saving me a lot of time for loading up these Instagrams. So something cool to consider if you didn't know how to use the computer, like I did until a few weeks ago. My friend Ben, he changed my life with this little trick. And there's probably a million more of these that I don't know and that I will never know. Anyway, photos by Blondie. So immediately, just a super fun, light-hearted page. And one thing that makes an Instagram look really nice is when someone is committed to an aesthetic. And I particularly am into this because if you look at mine, you can tell that I'm not. I'm doing a million different things. But this has like this nice beach, warm, blue and yellow vibe. See, colors that go well together. That's really nice. And one thing that's really cool about this is, and no offense to Savannah, that doesn't even mean, this doesn't even apply to you necessarily, but if all of your photos look good as a collective, it's called the cheerleader effect. You actually don't look at any of them in particular when you're scrolling through the feed. They're just like, oh, this is a nice page. So that's something to consider. The cheerleader effect is a big group of cheerleaders. Everyone looks really beautiful, but then as soon as you get close up and you hone in on each individual one, maybe not as much, but in big groups, it works. It's a true thing. So take note on that for a beautiful looking feed. Anyway, let's look at... All right, let's look at this photo. Two things that I'm not super crazy about. So one, and you guys are learning this, that I'm a stickler for this, but look at that horizon line, guys. Look at that angle. Does it look flush? Does it look perfectly parallel to this beautiful line or perpendicular? No. And it's just a little bit off, which bothers me. It's fine if it's crooked, like intentionally. This looks like sort of haphazard. So yeah, I would always try and keep those horizon lines either straight or very deliberately crooked. The other thing is the lighting in this photo. It's sort of backlit. So, I mean, all right, so they're in California. Sunrise is in the east, so it looks like it was taken in the later part of the day as the sun was setting, or like, you know, past overhead. And the flower, this beautiful sunflower, which looks, you know, pretty cool. The dark is a little bit, the inside's it's all a little too dark, and backlit. What would look really great is if you took it earlier in the day when the sun was coming from the same direction the camera is, so that inside of it's properly lit and not the outer part being blown out. And same for the hand. The hand's a little bit too dark too. Just one of those things to keep in mind. Lighting is super important, and shooting at the right time of day can make or break a photo. Seriously, like a photo could be boring and then you shoot it at sunset and it's amazing. So definitely keep that in mind. Yeah. Let's cruise through this live chat and see what's happening. Paresh Bala, thank you so much for the super chat, and I really like. He said, "Don't hold back." I definitely like. I like that he's not afraid to be reviewed. And let me say, so if anyone's like a very beginner photographer and they're not sure if they want to submit or not because they don't want to be like impaled by my criticism. The point of this is not to insult anyone. The point of this is purely just for everyone to improve, for you to learn something about photography out of this. So no matter how good you are, submit your photos. I'm not going to be mean. I'm just going to give you advice. And if you're a very terrible beginner photographer, that's totally fine. I will give you photography advice meant for beginner photographers. So know that it'll balance out. You hopefully won't be embarrassed. And I do sometimes make examples out of people. I will say that. Anyway, let's, on that note, talk about Griffin Stummer. All right. Thank you so much for the super chat, man. Let's see what we've got here. Okay. This looks like a pretty, like, photo-y photo. So, all right. Man. So, one thing that makes a photo great is just putting in work and so doing stuff, not just seeing what happens around you, but actually making things happen. And this is making things happen in my opinion. Like this smoke looks super cool. The one thing that can make this even better though is there's almost too much smoke in the background. I'm assuming this is all smoke. So this must have been a real firework and then smoke in the foreground. So that this smoke is almost hard to see against this. So I would have maybe one, had it with a clearer backdrop, or two, used a different color smoke. And one thing I've used before are smoke bombs. Are super fun. You can get them on Amazon. And they're all different colors. Be careful because they can stain your clothes, I'm pretty sure. But they are beautiful. I mean, red and blue, and if you use multiple, that can really step up a shot. And also, thank you so much for using my hashtag. And not thank you so much for using Peter McKinnon's. No, I'm just kidding. His stuff is awesome. Okay. Thank you, Griffin. All right. And who else do we have? Nate Mitchell, thank you so much for the super chat. I do not have your Instagram though. So leave it in the comments and I'll try and find it somewhere. And also, guys, so if you make a super chat, please include your information in the donation so I can find it very easily. And for anyone that's just came in, welcome. We're reviewing your photos, submission details in the description. Super chats, very much appreciated. My photography advice is very subjective. You may or may not disagree with it. And I think I've just figured out my spiel. That's it, right? I did it in like 7 seconds. So that's a new record. Okay, Nate, thank you so much. I got your Instagram, natemitchell.jpg. I was looking at other Instagrams people have submitted, and someone had a .pdf, which I think is really, really funny. I like that. PDFs are a decent file type for sure. Now PNGs, it's a little more pretentious, I guess, to be a PNG. I'd say PDFs, as far as like on the humbleness scale goes, they're pretty freaking humble. JPEGs are like, straightforward. Anyway, enough talk about files. Let's talk about natemitchell.jpg. So I guess more talk about files. All right, sick. So this is, you look at this and it's like, all right, this is the guy that knows what he's doing. Cool photos. Let's look at, wow. This is really sick. So let's talk about a couple things. One, balance. So here you have all this action going on over here, and then on the right frame, then on the left side you have this rapper or singer or whoever, and that is, it keeps your eye balanced and like knowing exactly where to look, and it's evenly, you know what balance is. It's a very well balanced photo. The lighting is also incredible, having this cool green versus this white backlighting. so that he pops really nicely. And one thing, little lighting trick that I like about this is, same goes for like taking a good flash photo. I love it when when the lights hit him on the front and him in the back. So you have like, look at his face. So you see on this side it's light, and this side it's light, and in the middle there's some darkness. I think that looks super, super cool. So yeah, I mean, this I guess wasn't really his doing necessarily, but you know, he sees that moment, and the rapper looks awesome, or singer, or I don't know, percussionist, whatever he is with the microphone, he looks great. So this is super cool, and respect for this photo. And this also, man, concerts are definitely your strength. These are cool. Yeah, I'm a fan. Thank you so much, Nate, for submitting your photos. And back to my face. Man, the voice, guys. I wish I could do these for longer. I'm gonna end this at 5 o'clock because I swear my voice can't take more than an hour of rambling. I'm not normally that talkative, so this is, you know, this is a vocal test for sure. All right. Let's see. Let me get a few of these loaded up really quick, guys. Hang on one second. Okay. All right. Okay. Wow. A bunch of these super chats are coming in hot. Thank you guys so much. We'll get to all of them in due time. And if I don't by the end of this show, then I will. You can send me an email, and I'll just email review them for you, and it'll probably be more in depth than I'm doing for this, because I want to get to a bunch of them today. So yeah. All right. Really quick, let me guys ask you a question. Do you like the level of depth that I'm going into for each of these shots? And Sam Frasier, I see you in the super chat. I will get to you in 1 second. Yeah, I could go on for longer with these people. I could also be a little more brief and try and get more viewers submissions in. So let me know if I should go faster, slower, if you like this pace. Yeah, this is always a constantly refining process. So let me know in the super chat. So anyway, or in the chat. Ugh. All right, let's talk about Kyle Konarski. So thank you so much, Kyle, for the donation. He's a car guy. And alright, I'm going to call you out really quick. Boom. None of this. Guys, remove. Please, remove. I'm not a fan. But anyway, this is a cool photo. I like this framing, this natural framing with, I guess it's a parking garage. And he was outside of said garage, which is neat because it puts this car in like a box almost. Which directs your focus. And same for these lines, they're like all pointing toward the car. Yeah, that's pretty cool. There was something else I wanted to say about this. One sec. You know what? I don't. Oh, you know what? The one thing I want to talk about is how to get good at photography. So just a piece of general advice that I think Kyle is following really nicely is photograph what you like. So when I started taking photos, like, I think it can be pretty hard just to go out and like shoot randomly. It's not easy. It's it takes a lot of drive. Now what works really well is if you naturally just start to shoot what you're already spending time doing. So I got my start with skateboarding, and I was obsessed with skateboarding. I got injured. I still wanted to go out skateboarding, so I started shooting tons and tons of skateboarding to fill my time. And because that was my passion already, it didn't take that much drive to go out and have a subject. And that's where I learned most of the stuff. That's where I learned most of the stuff that I know about photo now. And that's sort of where it all expanded from. So keep it up with the cars. That is the move for sure. All right, let's. Who else do we have? All right, we've got one Samuel Frasier. Let's talk about this very country-esque work. He's from London, UK. And what stands out to me? Interesting. I don't know what this is. This is odd. Okay, let's talk about this one. So it looks like he used, may have applied an Instagram filter here. Maybe it's just to shallow depth of field. The focus does seem a little strange over here. But anyway, framing. So he's got that cool leading lines here, which happens naturally with bridges, so that's always good. I don't like this area of the photo. So there's a ton of extra sky here, and it's not an interesting sky, so I wouldn't necessarily try and show as much of this. And I also would prefer there not be the pole coming out of his head. We've talked about this in the past. So one technique you could do to fix all of this is get low, get super, super low, lie on your stomach for that matter, so that now, first of all, the fences will be more dramatic and it'll fill more of the frame up. And the fence is beautiful and overgrown with this shrubbery, which is super cool. And you see less of this development isn't as nice. I don't want to see poles in what is supposed to be a nature shot necessarily. And yeah, that's just one way to make the photo a little bit better. Also, time of day. The subject isn't very well lit. And I don't want to teach you guys to be lighting snobs or anything, but if this were taken during golden hour, which is an hour before sunset happens, where the sun is just hitting, it's really low and it illuminates everyone really nicely, this photo would be much, much stronger. So yeah, time of day, like I said, can really, really affect a photo and make or break it. But good photos can be taken at any hour of the day. I promise you that. So anyway, Samuel, thank you so much for submitting and dealing with my slowly quieter and quieter voice, because my voice is diminishing. Anyway, who else do we have? Let's talk about... Wow, alright, tons of super chats, guys. I will get to them in due time. Let's talk about Eric Molina. Alright. Oh, this is a cool feed. I can already tell. I've seen 2 photos, and I have a good feeling about this. Alright, let's cruise and see what's good. Some interesting... This is flash work, I assume? Okay. A quick note about flash. So flashes are one of the coolest tools in photography that can really step up an image and make you less dependent on natural light, because now everything is in your control. And you can get very cool shots during any time of day, and give your model the exact lighting you want, and not have to be waiting until a certain time of day. Anyway, what I really don't like on-camera flash. And one thing you'll actually learn is nicer cameras, like top-of-the-line DSLRs, don't have on-camera flash. It's not even a feature, because it's just so, they know it's not very good. And the way you can tell if it's on camera is it comes, it's very flat lighting. It comes from the same exact spot where the photo is taken from, obviously, because it's on top. So you end up with these shadows, which are right next to, kind of outlining the subject. And all of this, you see this too, and it's I'm not a huge fan of that. I think that having a flash right here or right here, and you can have some really nice dramatic lighting, will give you more focus on the subject, and also give you cool shadow play. Because if the shadow were protruding over here, then you can actually see it, and it creates a balance with this, versus just sort of distracting from your main subject. So yeah, I think on-camera flash has a time and place. If you're shooting indoors, it can be really, really helpful, almost necessary. But you can also get super cheap flashes, which can be external. And if you're curious about that, just send me an email, and I will. I'll link you guys up to some cool flashes I like. I had these really cheap ones for a while that actually did some serious damage, and you can get these all kinds of cheap equipment. So anyway, shoot me an email. I'll explain all that later. Maybe I should make a video on it. We'll see. Anyway, let's talk about Johnny Menejvar's photos who just submitted. Thank you so much for the super chat, Johnny. And let's now see what you've got going on for you. Johnny, your Instagram may have been typed in wrong. Wait, hold on. Got it. All right, let's see what we've got. Okay. Okay, let's talk about lighting a little bit. So this is cool. I love aerial shots. Aerial shots are so cool because what would normally be like these patterns that you can kind of ignore now suddenly makes this awesome checkerboard, which is super neat. And you can see these shadows very well. And same for, just all these nice lines that guide your eye throughout the photo. Now, my one piece of advice for you, Johnny, is to make a much cooler photo. One of the most basic things I like to do is look for instances like this. It's right around the time of day where the sun's starting to go down. In the city, and he's from Alexandria, so there are buildings like so. You find these little, what I like to call sunbaths, where say parts of one building is tall, one building is low. So you have these like nice little spots of light surrounded by shadows, and you'll see this everywhere. Now that I pointed it out, keep an eye out around golden hour for sunbaths, and when you have those and you get your subject, your person, to be in that sunbath, so a little bit of light around here and then a little bit of shadow on the other sides, it looks super, super dramatic and really, really cool. So that's one very easy way to step up a photo. And here, I can show you an example of a sunbath. Let me just pull up my Instagram really quick. We have, let's see. Yep, see now you guys get to really watch my slow internet in action. Here, so this isn't the best example, but you notice how the shadows hit him all the way up until his face, but his face is well lit, and a little bit of his bag, which, is kind of cool. And you also have, this would be like a little sunbath, so something like that can make an image much, much stronger. And still, not even the best example, but oh well. Anyway, let's go back and see what's happening in stream. All right, so let me see what everyone's talking about. I feel like I've been hanging out in the corner of the party, or I've been in the bathroom for a long time, and I gotta see what's happening. Okay. All right. Wow, tons of super chats that I have not gotten to yet. Let's do this. So really quick, guys. Super chats. Quick little spiel again. If I don't have the chance to get to your super chat, I will just shoot me an email with your Instagram name, and I will reciprocate because you're supporting me, and I'm going to support you. So yeah, but I'm going to prioritize these first and try and get to as many as I possibly can. So, yeah. All right, Milo Lee 11. Let's see what we're working with over here. And it is 4:50 now, so I think let's do 5 more, 3 more. We're gonna do it up until 5 or 5:05, and then I'm gonna have to retire for my livelihood, and because I have a social life that happens after work. I swear, I have friends, believe it or not. So yeah, we're gonna finish this up around 5:05. Yeah, let me just pull up some more photos really quick. I'm excited. I'm definitely gonna have to get to Paresh Bala's Golden Goats because he's the guy that wants the harsh critique, and I like to give the harsh critique. Okay. Ooh, all right. We've got another concert photographer. All right. So Milo Lee, thank you so much for the super chat, man. Very much appreciated. And he is not messing around. So this is awesome. All right, one thing that's kind of cool, my friend was giving me good advice the other day about street photography. And sometimes it's all about catching a moment where maybe the photo actually doesn't turn out that good, but you just catch that amazing moment. And compositionally, there's nothing insane about this. I mean, he didn't cut off any limbs, but I mean, this is funny. Looks to be, I don't know what he's smoking. Looks like a joint or whatever, which is, it looks, it's a cool thing. Yeah, that is a large joint. Anyway, on a slightly less explicit note, the lighting on this is amazing. So this is what I was talking about, guys. See how you have this backlighting here, this white rim lighting, it looks super cool, and then you have light coming from over here, and then this little shadowed area, and you know, it's typical for concerts, but you know, keep an eye out for that. You can do that with external lights as well. And alright guys, this is actually one of the more tasteful watermarks I've seen. I actually didn't notice it immediately, because it tends that people who design watermarks don't know how to design watermarks. They look, you know, not great. Who is this? Who is Extension? But oh, all right, he's someone. 2.4 million. So it goes. Anyway, yeah, just you know, watch out for those watermarks, and if you are gonna do them, make sure that it's tasteful. Okay, let's go back and talk about Paresh. Okay, Paresh. Harsh criticism, Paresh. Wow. I didn't want to say this for you, but I mean, this is beautiful. Okay, let's see. Alright, well, really quick, one piece of advice for this is composite images. You know what? Let's not talk about composites. This is really cool. They took this, what looks to be right in that nice bluish hour. So one piece of advice for any photographer that likes to photograph sunsets, my advice for you is stick around. So this is what Paresh did, and right after sunset, as soon as the sun's in, there's like this nice 30 minutes of blue time. It's better in some places than others, depends on the atmosphere, but it can be really, really beautiful where you still have some color in the sky, and enough lighting to light up your subject, or your bridge, which is super cool. What I don't like, trying to think of some bad things to say about this. I'm not crazy about this area over here, particularly this. I mean, so it looks like they're on some sort of boardwalk maybe. I can't even tell. But this looks to me like, I know this is very developed, but if they were to cut this out of the photo, it could be done in Photoshop pretty easily, honestly, even though it's a little bit manipulative, or just, you know, get down on the sand and shoot with a wide angle. That's a great way to kind of remove yourself from like this, like, oh, they're standing on a safe boardwalk, and make it seem more like, you know, they're toughing out the elements to get those nice photos. And yeah, so it takes away a little bit from this amazing water and beach scene. So something to keep in mind. But you know, I mean, this is cool stuff. Yeah. Anyway, back to the face. Who else do we have? Wow, Nate Mitchell, thank you so much for the second donation. You were the man. Very, very much appreciated. All right, and we've got just 7 more minutes, so let's pull a couple randoms out of the live chat. Have I gotten everyone in the super chat? If I didn't, I came in very fast. If I missed anyone, hit me up, and yeah, hit me up with an email, and I'll get to you. But I do want to do a couple ones, people that didn't submit, because of fairness. So anyway, here's one. There's an Instagram I found that I liked. All right, Maddie Critchley. Let's talk about your work. So Maddie, this photo caught my eye for sure. And last week I was talking a little bit about a well-composed image of macro photography and how you can do it right. And in my opinion, this is that. This is really, really nice. So things that make this photo great. So there's a couple elements. One, they use that very wide aperture, shallow depth of field, like I've talked about before. So you see all this nice bokeh out here, which is just beautiful. Second, they took it at a really nice time of day, golden hour, like I've been talking about. So you have these really sick sun flares that illuminate the flowers. They're kind of backlit, but there's also enough light bouncing around, so they're also, you know, good lighting all around. And then just balance. They have this one batch here that's nicely, sharply in focus, and then this over here that's not, and they're perfectly framed together so that, you know, this nice balance between both sides of the image. This is really, really, really sick. yeah, I have nothing bad to say about this except I'm jealous that I wish I could take a photo like that. Macro is something I've never really experimented with. I have one macro photo that I've taken that I like because I don't really have quite the right lens. It's never been my exact interest, but now I'm honestly a little bit intrigued. So I might have to go and screw around with a little bit of macro operation at some point. Anyway, let's see. We got 5 more minutes. Let's try and get 2 or 3 more. Who else do we have? Alright, let's pull some randoms again. Alright. Let's see. Here's one. Bear with me, guys, for 1 second as I deal with my internet. Alright, we've got a cool one. This kid told me not to look at his Instagram. He tempted me. He knew exactly what he was doing. Reverse psychology, I guess, still works. And, you know, this is the immediate one. Not even going to bother looking at anything else. I'm a sucker for star photos. So, a couple of different things. Let's see. Shot this 15 seconds, f3.5, and what looks to be a fairly wide-angle lens. I don't like this right here. So you see there's this tree right here that's protruding from the right, which just seems incomplete. Yeah, either have the tree in the shot or don't. Make that decision and be decisive about it. Another thing that's kind of cool is when you shoot stars in areas with certain amounts of light pollution, you get this operation over here, this little orange from the bottom, which looks, you know, can be pretty cool. It adds, excuse me, a little bit of color in the photo. Now, one thing I don't like about this, another thing, is there's a lot of grain here, and the little advice I have for you is you can actually add in Lightroom there's a feature called denoise. I've closed out Lightroom to save space memory on this computer for now, but know that if you bump up that bar, the denoise button, the photo can look much better, and I highly recommend that for any astrophotography. Always the move. So anyway, Abel, thank you so much for submitting, and let's do 2 more, and then we call it a day. Okay, what do we have here? All right. One second, guys. All right, I found one really quick. Real McCoy photography. Let's see. Oh, here, someone corrected me in the chat. It's called Blue Hour. That area, the time of day right after sunset. Blue Hour, whatever. Technical terms. All right, last photo we've got. We're gonna do just one more. My voice is gone. Let's talk about this person. Is it gonna be you? Maybe not. Maybe so. If you're not real McCoy photo, it's not going to be you. So this last photo, I want to talk a little bit about these. So this is a pretty hype thing to do. And if you're on Instagram, you've probably seen a number of these. So how do you do it? So it's called, what's it called? Steel wool photography. So basically steel wool is highly, highly flammable. And if you put it I've made this before. I've done this little contraption where you have to get those beaters that you put into like a, these kitchen terms. You know, what you beat with a whipping machine. Wow, someone else give me the term in the live chat because my memory is not working right now. But you put a bunch of steel wool into one of those and then attach a string to it or a wire, and you spin that wire around as you light it on fire, which causes these nice, you know, flames basically, little flames to come out. So you wrap it around these circles and you shoot a long exposure and you get something like this. Now, a little suggestion I have to step this up, besides, I'm not even going to talk about this right here. We're not going to talk about watermarks anymore, is Perspective. So right now you see nothing in this photo except black and this light, which is cool, emphasis. But if you shot this a little bit earlier during the night, you'd have a little better lighting, which would show a little bit of the grass, or wherever they shot this, the ground. And this can work really, really well contextually with a background and foreground if you have one. So definitely keep an eye out for that, and that's the one way to step up these shots. There are some really cool examples. I wish I could, here, let's just Google some. You'll find some super cool stuff just for inspiration really quick. So people will do these like inside sometimes, or they'll do them like, like look at this. This is insane. Also, if you spin around, you get this really nice orb, like this, which it can be done better. And this is what I'm talking about. Like, there's some really cool context here. My one big warning here, my safety warning, is make sure you do this when there's some water around, because if the grass, or if it's rained recently, because if you have dry grass, you can start a fire, because you're basically just playing with lots and lots of fire. So be careful with this. I actually brought a fire extinguisher out when I did this one time. So don't be ridiculous. So anyway, that just about sums it up. We have made it all the way from 4 p.m. to 5, and my voice is just about done. So we're going to wrap this up now. Thank you guys so much for joining the live stream. And if you have any advice on how I can make this better, what you liked, just any critique or criticisms, or just tell me stuff you like, shoot me a DM on Instagram or shoot me an email, because I really appreciate the feedback. And even though we might have a couple hundred people coming in and watching this throughout, not that many people are actually going to say, later on, this is what I thought of this. So definitely let me know, and leave a comment too if you can. That is all. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you so much for the donations. And if I didn't get to your super chat and I missed it, please shoot me an email, and I guarantee you I will hit you with that email review. Anyway, that is all. I will see you eventually. And I'm gonna go eat sandwiches with a friend.